Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a special video discussion right before Christmas Eve. I hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas for those that celebrate, like I do. Yay. We're going to have a bit to talk about for today. I wanted to make this special video because I'm a bit concerned about tomorrow morning in terms of impacts. Now, this doesn't mean that everyone's going to see heavy snow, but I am seeing some aspects here which have my attention. So here's the radar right now, and for the most part, it's pretty quiet. We have our cold front off the coast. We have some precipitation approaching from the Ohio River Valley, but not really making much of a headway towards our neck of the woods. When we take a look at the surface boundary areas, right now you can clearly see that over the interior we have a colder boundary layer with temperatures in the mid to upper 30s. They're really not going to be moving all that much. And along the coast, we're in the upper 30s to lower 40s, even a couple of mid 40s in southern New Jersey. So as it stands right now, this would not be an environment supportive for snowfall, especially along the coast. Winds are from the northeast at around 10 to 20 miles per hour. Now, take a look at what is happening at the mid-levels of the atmosphere. The mid-levels of the atmosphere, it's much colder over the interior, and this environment is very much supportive for snow growth in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere where we are having our cloud development. Along the coast, marginal at best. So what this tells me here is that we have a very marginal environment along the coast, better support over the interior. The further north you go, the better the snow ratio, thus that will have an impact on your forecast as the precipitation develops. So when we take a look at the infrared satellite picture, here we have our low pressure system developing along the Carolina coastline. This low pressure system will track towards the New Jersey coast towards tonight, while this low pressure system will dive towards New Jersey as well. This cold front has all the Arctic air. Now remember that. This one has the Arctic air, this one has the moisture. Right now we have a marginal modified polar air mass in place, and this has the true Arctic air. What happens is that as we move on, and we can see this very nicely in the Water Vapor satellite picture, these two features will start to interact. And eventually, the Arctic air will bleed into this low pressure system. That's why the interior will see all snow, because temperatures will be getting colder as the storm develops. Along the coast, because of that separation, the cold air takes longer to get to the coast, and so therefore you end up with mostly rain. So that's going to lead to our forecast here, where much of the metro areas of Philadelphia and southern New Jersey, rain to snow showers, trace to coating. Now, why am I saying trace to coating when most locations are saying nothing, nothing at all? I'll explain why in a moment. A little bit further north towards Allentown, along the immediate coast of Connecticut, extreme southern Hudson River Valley, coating to 2 inches. You're going to see this battle of rain, snow back and forth throughout much of this storm event that's going to start to develop 6 p.m. this evening and end basically from west to east from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Further north, as you head towards just to the south of Scranton, basically over northeastern Pennsylvania, northwestern New Jersey, the southern Hudson River Valley, and much of southern Connecticut, we're looking at 1 to 3 inches of snow, possibly a few isolated areas up to 4 inches, and I'll explain why in a moment. And then as you head towards Scranton on north and northeastern Pennsylvania, the central Hudson River Valley and northern Connecticut, I like 3 to 6 inches of snow. Not so much because that's where the heaviest precipitation is going to be, but because of the snow ratio being higher. Anything that falls not only is going to stick, but the ratio is going to be higher. So you got to have a bit of a fluff factor in those locations. Now, here is what I have been debating over the past 2 days and what's really standing out to me. Okay, now here we have the NAM forecast, okay, and I'm seeing this in other mesoscale models as well. Notice, keep an eye on this area right here, okay, and look what's happening. Look at as it approaches the Philadelphia metro, intensifies, cuts through central New Jersey. Look at that intense band just marching through the region. That is definitely catching my eye. So what is happening here? Well, first of all, when we took a look at 250 millibars, we're going to use the latest GFS that came out. We're at the point where it doesn't really matter what model you use. You really should get the basic idea of what's evolving in the atmosphere. So in this case, I'm going to use the GFS mostly just for graphical presentation. So in this case, we clearly have around 1 a.m. a strong jet streak over the mid-Atlantic. And this leads to strong divergence and diffluence and stretching the atmosphere, okay? Now, what's happening at 500 millibars at the same time, and we'll see if we can pull that up. Here we go, or dynamics. Well, we had 500 millibars. Okay, so we don't have 500 millibars. Oh, there it is. Okay, there it is. All right, so 500 millibars right here, okay? Look what we have here. We have a trough that's going into a negative tilt. And look at that strong PVA by 7 a.m. Now, what this basically means for those of you who are saying, what the heck is PVA? This is strong lifting in the atmosphere. So what's happening is that the jet streak at 250 millibars is kind of stretching the atmosphere like taffy, and that leads to rapid rising in the atmosphere. Combine that with a 500 millibar trough that's going into a negative tilt, which this is a negative tilt right here, and very strong PVA diving towards the coast. Then you combine that factor with what we're seeing at 850 millibars. Let's go here. We'll take one step back. Okay, so here's our Arctic air. Remember that Arctic cold front that was kind of hanging back? Well, it comes through like a freight train between 1 a.m. and 8 a.m. Okay, so what's happening here is that it's almost like a really powerful cold front driving through the region at the mid and lower levels of the atmosphere as that Arctic air is crashing towards the coast. And so what that leads to when you combine all these factors is what we call a deformation zone, where you get this intense band of precipitation marching through. Now here's where it gets a bit tricky, and this is why I have this coating potential, especially in the Philadelphia and New York City metros and Long Island, and will include Central New Jersey as well. Wherever this band marches, okay, it's going to create very strong lifting. And my concern is that, first of all, where it's been snowing, that's going to easily add 1 to 2 inches of snow on top of what you already have. Thus, the isolated 4-inch snowfall in the 1 to 3 zone. Combine that with the strong lifting marching through. Do not be surprised in the Philadelphia and New York City metro and on Long Island tomorrow morning between the hours of 3 a.m. and 8 a.m. that you will experience heavy rain, thunder, ending as heavy snow. Because you're having rapid lifting happening, which cools the boundary layer, which cools the atmosphere, and that leads to a rapid changeover at times to snow. Now, trying to nail down where exactly this is going to happen in this intense band, and the models do try to do that, is very difficult, and it's a huge wild card. So while I am not expecting a heavy snow for the major cities, do not be surprised if you're waking up to thunder tomorrow morning, heavy rain changing over to heavy snow, and a nice little coating on your cold surfaces tomorrow morning as this band leaves. Now, after this snow band leaves, it's going to get very windy and rather cold. Temperatures are going nowhere tomorrow afternoon, and winds are going to be 15 to 25 miles per hour with gusts over 30 miles per hour at times. So if you have outdoor plans for tomorrow afternoon, I would definitely be prepared for some very windy conditions, wind chills into 20s, and possibly even some minor wind damage. Be prepared for a power outage, possibly. I would not be surprised at that with these strong winds coming in. And then we're going to have to watch out for some snow flurries as well. After this low pressure system, by the way, we really don't touch freezing, for a high, for the rest of this upcoming week on through next weekend. And yes, I am keeping a very careful eye on the potential for snowfall for the region. With temperatures this cold, the snow ratios are going to be higher. Even if you have a glancing blow of a low pressure system, it's still going to produce at least a light to moderate snowfall. So that's something to definitely keep an eye on as we move forward. Well, that is the forecast discussion for today. I will be doing a live weather coverage on YouTube Live this evening at 6:30. I'm going to do about half an hour. If you have any questions, I'll answer them. Check out what I'm doing for Christmas Eve. We'll have a little fun. And then we're basically going to be heading off the air. Now, for tomorrow, for updates, I will do some limited updates. But for the most part, tomorrow is about family, and I will be spending it with the family. Of course, I will keep an eye on this very interesting snow band that will be moving through the region at the end of this storm. Have a wonderful day. Have a Merry Christmas. And as always, stay safe out there.